world today, it is very important that we always have different functional writing skills that can always enable us to survive in the current world that we are living in. So these skills are very important and vital to us. So today we are going to basically look at one of the skills, and that is letter writing. So letter writing is one of the functional writing skills that a person can possess. These skills are needed in the different circles of life. For example, in most cases, when we are going to apply for jobs, we need to write letters. In offices, if there is any kind of work, like maybe someone is going to resign from a job, someone is going to appoint a worker, so we always need to have different letters that we write to that effect. Now, we are going to look at how to write an informal letter. So we are going to look at how to write a formal letter, much as there are also the informal letters, but our emphasis will be on the formal letter. What steps does a person take to write a formal letter? 1. We shall expect a formal letter to have a writer's address. That is, as far as the format is concerned, we expect a writer's address. The writer's address. And when we are writing this address, we need to make sure that we don't use entirely capital letters. We need to only use capital letters when we are writing the initials of the content words. For example, if I want to write the address of a particular place, we can write an address in this nature. So we can write Makerere, Kivulu. So when we write Makerere Kivulu, we are writing capital M, that is what we call the initial, and capital K, that is what we call the initial of the other content words. So the rest are small letters. It is only the initials of the content words that are always capitalized. And when we are writing, we need to make sure that we present this address in an indented format, or in other words, what we call a slanting format. So that is how the writer's address is supposed to appear. When we talk about a slanting address, that is where we can have PO Box 120 Kampala. So that one is what we refer to as an indented or a slanting address. So that is one of the features of a formal letter. So we are saying we don't write it entirely in capital letters, but rather we use the initials of the content words as the capital letters. The second item that we can have is the dates. When you are writing a formal letter, you need a date. And when we are writing the dates, it is also very important that we don't use numerical figures, most especially while writing the month. Rather, we expect you to use we expect you to write the month in full. For example, we can say 10th November 2021. So here we shall expect you to write the subscript at the same line with the other items of the date. We don't put the subscript in the power position. So we only do so when we are using the numeral format of writing. So with writing the month in full, the subscript should appear at the same line, and the month is always followed by a comma. So the date should also always have a full stop at the end of it. The third item is what we call the receiver's address. The receiver's address. For the receiver's address, unlike the writer's address, the receiver's address will be presented in the block format. When we talk about block format, that is writing it in a way that is not indented. For example, the manager, ShopRite, the manager, ShopRite, supermarkets, PO Box 123, Kampala. So this address should appear on the left-hand side of the page where you are writing. So that is how the address should appear. We still maintain the same way of writing. Initials are the only ones that are capitalized, the initials of the content words. Then the next item, while we are writing our formal letter, is what we call the salutation. And under the salutation, that is where we have items like dear sir, or we can have dear madam. So that is the salutation. Immediately after writing the receiver's address, we go to our salutation where we write dear sir or dear madam. And that should always be followed by a comma. For example, we can say dear sir, followed by a comma. So that is the fourth item. Then the next item is the reference. The reference. So while writing our reference, still reference refers to the reason why you are writing a letter. So when writing the reference, we make sure that we maintain the same way of writing where we use only the initials of the content words as capital and the rest of the letters are supposed to be presented in the lowercase. For example, we can have reference, apology. So there we can have capital A to start our sentence here, or to start our reference. So we can have RE, apology. So the R is capital, the E is supposed to be small. So here we don't use REF because we are looking at RE as our reason, most especially for writing a particular type of letter. So that is RE, the reason for writing. Then the next item would be the body. Now, while writing the body, it is always important that we present our body in prose form, that is presenting the items in paragraphs. So we can always use 3 to 4 paragraphs while writing the body of an official letter, or what we call an informal letter. So where in the first paragraph you state the reason, in the second paragraph you give details about what you are writing about, and in the third paragraph you conclude. So that is the body of a formal letter. Then the next item is the signing of, or what we call the conclusion. So the conclusion of the letter, this is where we append our signatures, and that one can appear as follows. Yours faithfully. Then you can put your signature, MM, that is if you have one. Then you can have the name, Mutiaba Mike, and the name should be presented in capital letters. Reason being that for some people that do not have signatures can use the lowercase as their signature. So the name should be presented in capital letters. So when you follow those steps, they will always help you to write any kind of formal letter that you come across, be it an application letter, be it a complaint letter, be it an apology letter, be it a resignation letter. So always follow the same steps. Thank you.